Hey guys, good morning everybody. Hope everybody's doing great today. One of the key things that has led to my success, and especially the success that I've achieved over the past year. We've done a lot over the 6 years we've been in business. But the past year I've gotten, me personally and our business has gotten more done and accomplished more things. And what's really led to that is my ability to control and to pay attention to what's in my control. So control what you can control, and everything else, don't let it rob your attention. Don't let it rob your mind, the space in your mind, and don't let it rob your emotions, because all of that should be guarded. You should control your emotions and control what you're thinking about constantly. You need to be very mindful of it, especially when you first start this journey of controlling your environment, really, and not letting things outside of your control affect you. So for example, I'm running low on fuel here. That's in my control. I need to pay attention to that. If I don't pay attention to that, I get stranded. So you need to pay attention to how much fuel's in your vehicle. But let's get back to, that's what that little chime was. One of the biggest things that robs people's attention and messes with their mood, messes with their emotion, is politics. And I've been as guilty at the majority of my life. I've been more guilty about that than anybody, the majority of my adult life. So let's say from age 15, probably started paying close attention to politics when I was around 13, 14, 15 years old. Up until really the end of this last presidential election, or even right before this last presidential election, I was like, man, this stuff is just so negative. It takes so much time to try and keep up with it. I'm just not going to pay attention to it because it's beyond my control. Yeah, I can get out there and vote. I can vote, but are you really sure what you're voting on? What you're voting for? Why you're voting for this person? Because your resources, your news, it's biased. Either side. You got the conservative media on the right. You got Hannity. You got Limbaugh. Some would say Fox. Fox pretty conservative on the right. Glenn Beck, on the right, conservative. They're biased to the right. And then you got CNN, MSNBC, CNBC on the left, and they're left-leaning. And there's nobody in the middle. There's nobody in the middle actually getting you the truth. So what you would need to do in order to make factual decisions, and I'm not going to make a decision without facts. I'm not going to make a decision without knowing what's the truth and what's not the truth, or at least having a damn good idea. You don't know. You blindly follow these news sources that are supposedly giving you facts when it's all very, very, very opinionated. So politics is just a huge attention waste. It's time you could be spending on paying attention to your business, your relationship, your body. It's a waste. So I've virtually eliminated politics. I don't even want to talk about it. I'll listen, kind of keep an idea of what's going on, but my focus is very narrow. It's very narrow. Where it used to be real wide, my focus is narrowed. Something else that's really just an attention robber, it's beyond your control, is the news. Watching the news. I have virtually eliminated watching the news. The only time I see the news is when I go over to somebody's house, my parents, or I've got some friends. A lot of my friends are 60, 70, 80. One's almost 90 years old pilots and businessmen and stuff like that. I've always just enjoyed hanging around. I see them weekly, and they generally have the news on now. Had you been around them when they were kicking ass in business, they probably hardly ever had the news on at that point. They were probably focused on what they were doing, because some of these people are very, very, very successful. $10 million plus net worth. One of these guys is a couple $100 million net worth. So, but they watch the news now because they've gotten out of business, and they're not as they don't have as much going on in their life now, which is something I plan on not doing. I plan on working till the day I die. I plan on having interest in something until the day I die, to being producing to the day I die, to growing to the day I die, to always employing more people, to having more real estate that provides more people with places to live or places to work, to helping more business owners achieve success. That's something I plan on doing to the very day I die. That gives you a purpose. That gives you drive. That gives you something to live for. And that's something I plan on doing, like I said, up until the point they bury me in the grave. And depending on what the hell happens in the afterlife, I'll keep, maybe, I don't know if I'll, what I'll do at that point. But if at all possible, I'm going to keep right on doing it even after I die. So, and that's a goal in my life. That's something I want to be inspired. I want to have a reason, a purpose to live. That's the reason you were put on this planet, guys. You're put on this planet to produce. You're not put on this planet to suck up all the resources. And that's what so many people are good at, sucking up all the resources, sucking up their environment, not controlling it and not contributing to society, but being just a leech on society. And that's not going to be me. I'm going to produce as long as I can produce. And part of that production is controlling my environment, controlling what I can control. News. Don't pay attention to news. Again, guys, I don't. All it is murders, robberies, and politics. There's hardly ever anything good on news. There's nothing positive on news. Folks, if all you're ever around is a negative environment, then you're going to have a negative outlook on everything. Shit, you ain't going to want to go get in business. You're going to go out of business. That's what you're going to think. You're going to fail. That's what you're going to think. And failure ain't that big of a damn deal anyway. If you fail, you just freaking pick yourself up and get going again. What's the worst thing that can happen? You lose your house and you lose things you've worked for. You go back to a little apartment, you file for bankruptcy if you have to, and then you just figure out a way to keep going. Hell, you're still alive. You still got the people around you that you care about. Shit. Y'all I would be, if I lost everything I had, it would bother me for probably about 2 weeks. Probably 2 weeks I'd be kind of down in the dumps. And I'm going to dig myself up and I'm going to find a freaking way to get back to it, And it's the process. I enjoy the process. And that's part of controlling my environment. But I'm a very positive person. And I've tried to eliminate negativity in my life. We fired people that were negative, especially recently. Fired them. I'm no longer hanging around friends that are negative. And if they get negative, I just tune them out. If I'm around somebody that's negative, I just tune them out. I just don't listen. I'm controlling what I can control. I'm controlling my environment. Sports. I used to be one of those people. I literally, the top athletes out there. I knew most of the players on almost every single baseball team. On at least my favorite teams, the Cardinals and the Braves. I knew stats for hockey players, especially, and old stats too. I was a sports historian, buff almost from a kid. I'm talking 10, 12, 14 years old. I could name all these stats, 16, 18. And I played real close attention till about 23, 24. And then especially recently, I've almost, I've pretty much eliminated it. I used to be huge in NASCAR. I raced. I used to really, I can name, at one point I can name every single Winston Cup champion starting in 1948. You had Red Byron, and I'm gonna miss him now because I don't remember, but Red Byron, and then somewhere in there, let's see, Rex White was in there, Tim Flock was in there. I could name all these old guys none of y'all have ever heard of that were born in the 20s and 30s. I literally used to be able to name all the Winston Cup champions, Earnhardt, Kawicki, Allison. I could name them all the way up to, Richard Petty. I knew all of the years David Pearson won his titles. I could go all the way up. And I'm already starting to forget a lot of those stats because I don't pay attention to it anymore. And what you pay attention to is what you know. So that right there is proving my point. I'm not really paying attention as much as sports. I'm paying a lot more attention to my life, my relationship, my business. And that's been huge. So sports, I follow it a little now. I watch the Super Bowl and some big events. I don't ever really turn on sporting events in my house. I hardly ever watch TV at my house. The only time I do is, kind of time with my wife. We'll watch Netflix or whatever. That's what she enjoys doing. So that's something that I'll do. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have a TV in my house. If it weren't for the social thing too, we have people come over, you want the TV on and sometimes, and if you're hosting a Super Bowl party, you kind of have to have a television, but other than that, I wouldn't have a TV. I'm controlling what I can control. I'm controlling my environment. And sports is beyond your control. Those guys getting out there, if they win or lose, you can't be so emotionally invested in a sports team that your mood, like literally around here, college sports, college basketball especially, but college football, you got NC State, Duke, and North Carolina. I do go to NC State basketball games, but I've gotten to the point now where I can control my emotions. So I do enjoy going to college basketball games. That's really the only sport I follow at all. But outside of the game, I don't really keep up with it. I'm not listening to radio about it. I'm not on internet forums about it. I'm following, you know, I'll talk to other NC State fans about what's going on. So I kind of keep up a little bit with that, but I don't let the negativity affect me. If we lose 10 games in a row, which NC State has been known to do from time to time, that used to just that killed me almost. So, you know, I would be useless the following day. I wouldn't pay attention in class or school. I wouldn't pay attention at work. So I've eliminated that. I'm controlling what I can control. I'm controlling my environment. Other things beyond so be careful what you're putting your attention to. It's robbing it. What are things you can control? What are things you should be paying attention to? Your business. You should know everything that's going on within your business. You should make sure the people that you have in your business are positive people willing to work hard, people trying to go places. Not everybody you hire in junk removal is going to be that way, but at least get rid of the negative ones, even if they're not super ambitious, even if they don't have a goal, a target they're heading towards. Don't allow negative people as part of your company. It'll spread, and it can spread to you. And the last thing you want to happen is spread to you. Control what you can control. You can control that and control your environment. Your body, your physical aspects. You're going to have a lot more energy. I've slacked off just a little bit here recently. Recently as in the last 3 or 4 days. And I got back on it this morning. I wasn't getting in the gym. We got busy at work. We were trying to get stuff done at work. So I wasn't getting in the gym. I wasn't eating quite as healthy. I literally can feel it. I'm normally a fireball of energy. I'll carry it on from get up at 7 a.m. and I'll be up till about 2 a.m. 1 or 2 a.m. I get about 5-6 hours of sleep, and that's normally all I require, anywhere from 5 to 7. So sometimes I might be up till 1 a.m. but I don't ever go to bed before 1 a.m. I'm working pretty much all the time in between, other than a couple hours from about 7 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. somewhere in there. I'm spending time with my wife right in there, and I'm doing my best to focus on her. That's something I can control. It's hard to control sometimes. It's hard to put your focus off the business once you get obsessed about the business. And in order to be successful, you got to be obsessed. There's no question about it. So, and then from that time on, I'm studying or I'm working. After that, about 10:30, 11, somewhere in there, until 1 or 2 a.m. I either study or work. So I'm always, throughout the entire day, I'm producing, I'm doing something, I'm contributing, or I'm learning, one or the other. I can control that. That's something I can control. Your relationships, again, like I said with my wife, that's something I can control. And your health, going back to that, eat right, guys. Eat right, work out, keep your body in shape. If your body falls apart, then you're not going to be able to contribute to the day you die. And like I said, that's one of my goals. That ought to be one of your goals also. Shit, how many people do you know that retire? I mean, there are some happy people that retire. Most of the happy people I know that retired stay productive. Maybe they aren't working at a job anymore, but they're building something. They're doing something. They've got a project going on, like they're restoring an old car. They're a cabinet builder. They enjoy building. They're producing, and that's something that you need to be able to do until the day you die. In your life, just try and eliminate all negativity, and once you can do that, then you're going to be able to go a lot farther in life. Those of you that are hanging around people that are negative, it's going to rub off on you. You got to control your environment. You need to control what you can control. If you don't, it's going to affect you. So what do you need to do? You need to quit hanging around friends that are negative. You need to fire employees that are negative. Give them a warning once, then let them go. Don't let negativity spread throughout your organization. If you can accomplish that, if you can eliminate negativity, if you can narrow your focus, you need to have blinders on. Your focus needs to be narrow. If you can narrow that focus, you don't want a widespread. You don't want to pay attention to politics. You don't want to pay attention to the news. You want to pay attention to your business, your health, your relationships, and whatever spiritual or religious relationship you have. Those are the 4 things you really want to focus on right there: your health, your business, your relationships, and your religion. Control your environment. Don't let it control you. Get out of the stands, get onto the playing field, and eliminate negativity out of your life. Your business will grow more than you ever possibly imagined it could, and you'll get more done in a shorter period of time than you ever have. Control your environment. Control what you can control. Thanks, guys.